A lot of other people seem to care about it more. Do you do you seem to care about it more now?
Not necessarily. I've always cared about it. I think it's a great game, but every game is a great opportunity to learn and grow. This one, just because of proximity and how much the people care about it in the state, it becomes more personal because it affects more people that you know, rather than playing an out-of-state team where after they come in and play and leave, you don't see them again.
When you were up at the Big Blue Bash, it was interesting. You made a comment that you were going to try and lessen the pain for some of the Salt Lake City BYU fans. In saying that, have you found a happy medium where, when saying I know you said it's just another game, but on the other hand, it does mean something to you, it seems like, or at least it seems like it's changed a little bit for you.
All the games mean a lot. This one just, it lasts longer because the people in the state and neighbors and friends and family members, they love to watch the game. They love to talk about it all the way until the next year. So I think that's what makes the game not just another game, but unique and special, which rivalry games are unique and special.
How much are you going to miss it, though, the next couple of years?
I'm not sure I'll miss it as much as I think our players will. And I think, part of the cool thing about playing college football is being part of rivalry weekend. And we don't have the rivalry weekend anymore, but we still have the game. And I think a lot of the memories the players have of college have to deal with big games, and this one is a big game, and so it's a lot of fun, so I feel bad that they'll miss out on it.
It's interesting. There's a statement where they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. Do you think that after 2 years you'll appreciate this game a little bit more after you haven't played it for a couple of years?
I appreciate it now, and I'm opposed to the game stopping for any reason. I think it's one of the reasons that college football is such a cool thing. It's not professional sport, it's college, and that regional matchups go away or conference realignments happen for money and exposure, which is all college football. It's not just either us or Utah, that's just what's happening. But if we're not careful, we'll lose the amateur view of student-athlete.
If you had the power to play this game the next couple of years, would you do it?
Oh, yeah, I think you schedule around the game. That goes in first, and every other game happens after.
Your seniors are 0-3. Most of your seniors are 0-3. Does that add a sense of urgency?
Oh, I would love to see them be successful. If there's a main motive for me for this game, I'd love to see them have an opportunity to have success. And that's, I care about them more than the rivalry, and so I'd love to see them be happy, like they were last week after the Texas game.
As far as the emotion of this particular game goes, how do you keep them riding the wave instead of getting engulfed by it as far as emotion?
It's so difficult. We try to keep them sequestered in our building as much as possible and studying film and having extra meetings and etc. But, if they stop to get a milkshake, it's the game. If they go to mail a letter, well, I guess it's just email now, but that's an outdated example. If they go to their class, they're asked, and there's no way around it. And so we try just to have them trust us as the source of what's going to help them be successful rather than listen to what other people have to say.
Is that a concern, just as far as that
Sure.
they'll get too hyped up and make mistakes because of it?
I think so, just because so many people care about it and they can't get around it. We find players taking naps here in the building and staying here longer. This is sanctuary. There's some degree of normalcy of it's not just another game because of the rivalry, but their routine is normal, and so they'd rather be here when the outside world doesn't treat it as normal.
How many times have you brought up the word turnover in the last week in preparing for Utah?
When did last week start? Like last Monday, or is that like today?
Yeah, last Monday.
Double digits, easy.
That is obviously, if you could put a finger on the problem.
That's what's changing the outcome. It's pretty easy when we're even or +1, we win. If we're in a negative category, we don't. And there are other contributing factors, but I credit Utah for playing well and creating turnovers. But if you had to say what's the glaring thing, but I think that's for any game that has a lot riding on it. You have to be able to be mentally tough, handle the emotion, and be execution sound to hold onto the ball. And these kind of games, 6 of the 8 go down to the last play. The ones that don't usually mean there's maybe 13 turnovers in 2 games, which that's hard to play well when that happens.
And then special teams have made a big impact as well. Is that a surprise to you?
That's number 2. That would be field position is next. So if I were to say, not just in this particular game, but any game where there's 2 quality or opponents or relatively evenly matched opponents, man, turnovers and field position matter, and that's the same in ours.
Coach, you look at Utah's offense, they have a mobile quarterback in Travis Wilson. Does it help your defense to be able to go against Taysom Hill in practice to prepare for that?
Yeah, it does. The offenses aren't identical, but there are some similarities, and Taysom is one of the fastest players on our team, and we know if we can't catch him, we probably won't be able to catch Utah's quarterback, so it gives us a great point of reference in practice to see what the angles need to look like, etc.
You've never had a bye week leading up to the Utah game. Can you talk about how that might help you emotion-wise?
Man, I think it's, if I were to say from what I saw today, it's been the other way. And it looks like our players were sluggish and kind of bored, and it's like, when are we going to play the game already? And we're not prepared to play it yet, but if I had to do it again just after experiencing it, I would have rather had the game come right after Texas. I don't think I said that last week, but just after kind of going through it, man, it seems like a month since we played.
Was it a good week for certain players to get healthy, however?
We'll see. That's the hope. They didn't take as big a jump as I thought they would in looking at them today. I thought they would have been fresher, and maybe not practicing as much or not having a game had the opposite effect. I'm not worried yet in terms of being able to have it ready by Saturday, but I thought we would be fresher and look faster than we did today.
A lot of folks looked at Jamal at the tail end of the Texas game get bent back at the end and were worried about him. He went to the sideline and looked to be in some pain. How's he doing?
He's good. He's no issues whatsoever. He's
Any
good.
any guys questionable at all from the 2D?
Oh man, I knew you'd ask me that.
Mike Haig would be.
He's going to play. Mike is. Yeah, it's better if you ask me names.
Down low.
That will play. He's cleared. Mike.
Wanyanga.
Play.
No, I know
he's
he
good.
played.
Eric Thornton.
Looks like he'll play. So yeah, that works
Edward
better.
Frizzy.
Yeah, that works. He'll play too.
Coach, you talked about how often this rivalry game comes down to the last play of the game. That being said, how much better do you feel about what you've seen from Justin Sorensen?
Oh man, that's been one of the real positives of the year. He's put them all through the uprights, and today we put him under pressure, and I think he was 7 for 7 or 6 for 6, and so he just keeps rolling along, which, man, that makes a huge difference because every point matters, especially in this game.
This game's impact on recruiting, is that overblown? Have you ever had a guy say, I'm going to go to Utah because they beat you guys?
I really haven't. It's been, lots made of it. I think the neighbors have more fun waving or showing their flag or having that hooked to their house if that team wins or the other. I honestly can't say that we've lost a recruit, or maybe vice versa, that a recruit has come because of the outcome of that game. Not specifically, anyway.
As far as recruiting goes, do Utah and BYU really go head to head that much?
Not as much anymore. There are some instances. I would say maybe 3 or 4 players a year now would be max. But ultimately, man, the kids choose BYU that want BYU, and the ones that choose Utah want Utah. But it's not as much as what people think anymore.
You may have related this before, but you've been a part of this rivalry even before you were a part of the staff back when you were in high school because your brother played here.
Yeah.
Well, memories of when he played in it or just even growing up around here with this rivalry?
I don't remember many of the games other than my dad getting so worked up about it. He's a Cougar Club loyal, faithful fan, and he kept talking about how big a game it was. I was just a kid coming to watch my brother play, so I didn't really grasp what it was all about.
Utah has shown that they can move the ball and score some points, 48 and 70 last 2 weeks, and especially through some of the receivers and Trez Anderson. How do you feel your secondary matches up? And
I think he's faster than all of us. He's a good player, but a lot of teams have faster players than we do, and I think we'll just do our best.
How important is this game